I did the face-off for both of you about a month ago, and it wasn't very nice towards the end of that face-off. I had to move back, and everyone accused me of ducking away from it. I wasn't. But you accused them of being disrespectful then.
Yeah.
What happened for those that maybe didn't get that clip? Why was he disrespectful?
It wasn't disrespectful, it was just a phrase I used, but he said, "Let's go now." And I clicked for a minute. I said, "What does he mean by that?" And then he repeated it again. And I just feel like anyone in here, if I was...
Boxing, this is what happens, this is boxing, these things happen, so, you know, we're fighting Saturday, let's go.
So as I was saying, at the press conference, I just feel like you should never let anyone take an inch, because I'll end up taking a mile. You know what I mean, Dan? Sorry? That's it.
Anthony Joshua and Daniel Dubois held a heated press conference to intensify the build-up to their upcoming fight on September 20th.
Like Frank Warren, who as Dubois' promoter, naturally supports him, he emphasized Dubois' exceptional mental and physical readiness, citing his recent victories against top-tier opponents. These victories notably include Dubois' impressive win of the interim WBA title.
So he's in a really good place at the moment. He's coming up for two magnificent wins, beating two world-rated fighters. One was against Hrgovic, and that was for the interim IBF title. And he won that in style. And he's at the top of his game now, mentally, physically, mentally. And I'm very confident of his chances going into this fight.
Warren then discussed the caliber of opponents each fighter has recently faced. He commended Dubois for taking on and defeating more formidable foes than those Joshua has encountered, underscoring Dubois' advantageous position due to these successes. He also noted Dubois' age and momentum, suggesting that Dubois shows greater experience and readiness than Joshua.
All the stuff leading up to it is quite intriguing, it's quite entertaining, and as I say, with these two, you know, they're two British guys, both of them on a roll. They're both coming off of some good wins, although I believe Daniel's opponents have been superior, better quality than AJ's. He's a young man, 26 years of age now, and he's going in with a guy who's got impeccable credentials in AJ, you know, the Olympic gold medalist in London. He's done everything that's been asked of him up to a point. As a professional, 2 times world champion. He's going for his third crack of gaining the title. So, you know, he's probably got more of the experience. But
additionally, Frank Warren commented on the high expectations and pressure on Anthony Joshua, given his higher profile and favored status. He pointed out that Joshua, being the more recognized and celebrated of the two, faces significant pressure that could affect his career trajectory, especially if he were to lose.
I think the pressure is on him because obviously, you know, he's the bookmaker's favourite. He's probably the fans' favourite, and he's obviously the better-known boxer of the two, certainly in the UK. So everything's on him. It's how you lose a fight. If he lost the fight as the way you just said, then I think he'd have a hard way if he wanted to carry on to come back.
Teddy Atlas, also one of the seniors in the boxing community, has predicted the outcome and praised Dubois for his strong punching ability, emphasizing that his physical prowess is a significant factor in his fighting style. He suggested that Dubois needs to extend beyond his skills to venturing into a tough neighborhood, so he also risks encountering difficulties that could test his resilience.
And he can punch, and he's thick, and he's strong, and he has all of those things. He has to get close to Joshua to land on, and if he lands on Joshua, he can hurt him, no doubt about it. But to get close to him, you got to go through a bad neighborhood. And you know what happens when you go through a bad neighborhood? Sometimes you could get mugged. You know, he has to have been improved in that area where he can get through that bad neighborhood early. Otherwise, it's going to be a tough night.
Michael Hunter, a recognized figure in heavyweight boxing, often shares his perspectives on high-profile fights, drawing from his extensive experience in the ring. In a recent commentary, Hunter assessed the capabilities of Daniel Dubois, noting his strong boxing lineage and the competitive spirit he shares with his siblings. He acknowledged Dubois' readiness to compete robustly in the ring. Hunter remarked, "I think Daniel Dubois is a great fighter. He comes from a fighting family with his sisters and brothers, so I think he's going to put in a good effort, but I think Anthony Joshua is going to get this one one. I think he's going to knock him out. Anthony Joshua's right hand has been more intelligent lately, more precise, with a bit more acuteness to it. I think he's going to knock him out. Hunter attributed this to Joshua's improved technique and precision in his right hand strikes, suggesting these enhancements would be key to securing a knockout victory. Gareth A. Davies, a seasoned boxing analyst, recently discussed the inherent unpredictability of boxing. He said that while a knockout in the middle rounds is plausible, the fight could just as easily stretch to the full 12 rounds, showcasing the resilience and might of the fighters. Davies noted, "It could go mid-rounds. I mean, I could be completely wrong and it could go 12 rounds. You never know with these things. They both could get up off the floor and fight on, but they both have a lot of power. Joshua is a very good finisher." Further, Davies expressed concerns over Dubois' tendency to absorb too many punches, suggesting that this might necessitate a more cautious approach to protect his chin, a critical factor in heavyweight bouts where durability is constantly tested, especially against a striker like Joshua with a powerful right hand.
Dubois looked like he was hit too much by Hrgovic, and they will protect his chin more in this fight. And then there's always some question marks about, this is heavyweight boxing, so there are always question marks about your chin in heavyweight boxing, but there's question marks about Joshua's chin if he's hit flush by Dubois. That right hand of his is enormously dangerous. But
he also highlighted the strategic acumen of the fighters' teams, praising Ben Davidson for his precocious mastery of the sport despite his relatively young age. Davies recognized Davidson's capacity to devise successful strategies for his fighters. Lastly, Davies suggested that Joshua's tighter defense and superior jab, traits increasingly rare in modern boxing, might offer him an edge. He observed that Dubois' aggressive style often leaves him more exposed to counterstrikes, potentially disadvantaging him in this clash. Based on these assessments, Davies predicted that Joshua could land more impactful blows, possibly leading to a victory between the 6th and 8th rounds.
My view is Joshua has a tighter defense, and I think arguably people might not agree with me, but a better jab. And I think Dubois is easier to hit, and he commits himself a little more. So I think if I was to say anything, my pick at the moment before I see them in fight week is Joshua to land a bit more and Joshua to win the fight 6, 7, 8 rounds into it.
Dave Coldwell, a respected figure in boxing, reflected on the evolving demeanor of Daniel Dubois during a recent press conference that also saw tensions flare between Dubois and Anthony Joshua. Coldwell noted Dubois' increased confidence, which has fostered a sense of stubbornness in him. This new attitude was apparent during their interaction, where Dubois conveyed a demand for respect based on his experiences rather than his accomplishments alone.
Now, I think the confidence has brought this stubbornness about him. Even when you saw him across the table, the way he was speaking to AJ, you know, I feel as though he feels as though I'm not that young kid anymore. You need to respect me for what I've come through. Maybe not what I've done, but what I've come through. I feel as though, and he's rightly so.
Dave Coldwell elaborated on Daniel Dubois' personal growth and self-recognition of his achievements, regardless of how others may perceive them. He pointed out that Dubois' pride in overcoming personal and professional hurdles has led to a significant mental shift. This pride in his journey, irrespective of external opinions, emphasizes Dubois' evolved self-perception and mental toughness.
I feel as though he's very proud of himself for what he's come through, and you know, the mental shift that he's shown. And sometimes just that alone, when you then become proud of yourself for an achievement, it may not be a huge achievement in other people's eyes, because other people say, oh, well, you showed those vulnerabilities mentally in first place, so you shouldn't have them in first place. Some people speak like that, but it doesn't matter. It's about how you feel.
Dave Coldwell further discussed the often overlooked aspect of Daniel Dubois' capabilities, specifically highlighting his footwork, which he considers underrated. Coldwell contrasted this with Anthony Joshua's progression in mobility and technique, evident from his performances in recent years, such as in the rematch against Andy Ruiz. This comparison sheds light on both fighters' evolution and adaptation in the ring, underscoring their readiness to leverage their improved skills in upcoming bouts. He added, Dubois has underrated footwork actually, but AJ has improved over the years, and he can get up on his toes if he has to. Look at the Ruiz rematch. Dave Coldwell weighed in on the evenly matched nature of the upcoming fight, expressing that it presents a balanced challenge where both fighters excel in different aspects. He specifically noted Daniel Dubois' adaptability, despite not being known for agility. Coldwell recalled an instance when Dubois, despite a knee issue, demonstrated smart footwork under pressure, showcasing his tactical intelligence in the ring. He said, "It's a 50-50 50-50 to be honest, because they both in different ways, but because Dubois never going to get up on his toes, but when he's had to actually, I think his knee went, he was intelligent with his feet. I think that's quite a level. There was this most notorious sparring session of all the time, the 2016 sparring session at the GB Performance Institute in Sheffield, featuring Anthony Joshua and then 18-year-old Daniel Dubois, has been a hot topic of conversation. During this session, Dubois managed to land a significant blow on Joshua, causing a moment of instability that visibly rattled Joshua. Where Frank Warren has openly claimed about this session, Eddie Hearn addressed claims made by Frank Warren regarding Daniel Dubois allegedly dropping Anthony Joshua in a sparring session. Hearn expressed skepticism about the authenticity of these claims, noting the absence of corroborating accounts from credible witnesses like Anthony Fowler, who was supposedly present.
Anthony Fowler was there, apparently, and he didn't say that happened. Don't know if Frank Warren was there, I doubt it. But I reckon that if I was Daniel Dubois, I would have told Frank Warren that I dropped Anthony Joshua, because it would have got him more money on his signing bonus. So, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, he definitely didn't. By the way, if he did, who cares? I mean, what was it, 8 years ago?
Eddie Hearn commented on the robust nature of the sparring encounters between Anthony Joshua and Daniel Dubois, emphasizing that both are formidable punchers capable of delivering significant blows. He suggested that it's likely each has managed to challenge the other during their sparring sessions. He added, "They're both huge punchers, so yeah, I'm sure AJ hurt Dubois in sparring before, and I'm sure Dubois hurt AJ." Continuing his discussion, Hearn addressed the rumors surrounding these sparring sessions. While acknowledging the allure of such stories within the boxing community, he expressed skepticism about the particular narrative of Dubois dropping Joshua. He continued, "I'm sure whoever he sparred with, he's a big puncher, but yeah, I mean, not the story that I've heard from everyone that was there, but it's a good story nevertheless." After the grand arrivals during a media session, Frank Warren suggested that the outcome could hinge on a single punch due to their ability to deliver knockout blows. Warren noted that both fighters carry significant power in their punches, emphasizing that neither team wants to see their fighter take the first major hit, as it could be crucial in determining the fight's direction.
But in there with the big boys, anything can happen.
Because of the punch power, because of what they carry in their fist. Especially, big punchers. They're both massive punchers. And let's get it right. Neither of us want to see our guy take the first big punch. Neither of us want to do that, because I think that's going to be the telling moment in the fight.
Continuing his analysis, Warren highlighted the aggressive nature of both fighters, pointing out that their styles are not conducive to a lengthy fight. He predicted that the fight would not go the distance, given both fighters' tendencies to finish strongly when they sense an opponent is in trouble. He speculated that the pivotal moment might come from a counterattack, setting the stage for a decisive reaction that could end the fight.
It's going to happen. It's not going to go the distance, because these styles of these guys will not allow that to happen. They're not that type of fighter. They're very, when they've got a guy in trouble, they're both good finishers. They're very good finishers. So it's who's going to blink first, who's going to get caught with a counter, because I think that's going to be the key to it. I don't think it'll be somebody throwing the perfect shot. I think as they throw something, it's the counter back, and then how they react to it.
Standing beside Frank Warren, Eddie Hearn described the fight as not particularly complex tactically for Joshua, but highlighted its high-risk nature because of Dubois. He pointed out that while devising strategies to exploit Dubois' weaknesses and set traps may not be challenging, the real concern lies in handling the powerful counterattacks from Dubois.
This is not tactically a tough fight for Anthony Joshua. It's just a very dangerous fight. Unpicking the flaws of Daniel Dubois and setting traps against him is not going to be the problem. It's going to be what's coming back, and it's about being smart and being like a sniper in there and taking this guy out, because Dubois is very active. He's got great volume to his work.
Continuing his analysis, Hearn speculated on the emotional control of Dubois during the fight, considering how it might affect his performance. He drew parallels to Dubois' previous fight against Turgovich, as if Dubois cannot manage his emotions, the fight could end swiftly. Hearn predicted the encounter could either turn into a rapid shootout due to the fighters' aggressive styles.
So Frank, it's going to be really interesting to see how they both come out, because I don't know if Dubois can control his emotions in there on Saturday, and if he doesn't, he'll come out like he did against Turgovich, and if he does, one way or the other, this will be over inside 3 rounds, and it could just be an almighty shootout. Or they could be a little bit more cautious. They're definitely going to be conscious of each other's power.
While all the community was giving their reviews and choosing one fighter over the other, the trainer showed sheer confidence and belief in his fighter. Ben Davison expressed strong confidence regarding the upcoming fight, emphasizing a deep familiarity with Anthony Joshua's style and capabilities. He conveyed a sense of preparedness and strategic awareness that he believes will be crucial for success in the match.
Like I say, I'm very confident. I'm very confident. We're very familiar with Dubois, as is AJ, and he knows what he needs to do.
Ben Davison spoke highly of Daniel Dubois, recognizing him as a top-tier heavyweight and champion. He underscored the quality of Dubois' past victories, specifically mentioning notable wins against fighters like Jarrell Miller and Filip Hrgović. Davison praised Hrgovic's skills, further highlighting the significance of Dubois' achievements in those fights.
He's a top-quality heavyweight. He's a heavyweight champion of the world, so, you know, we're not playing him down by any means. They're really good wins. You know, Jarrell Miller and Filip Hrgović. I think Filip Hrgović is a really good fighter as well, and he come through them as victorious. So, of course, there's obstacles that we've got to overcome. We're well aware of that.
Duke McKenzie expressed his favoritism towards Daniel Dubois over Anthony Joshua, highlighting Dubois' more natural athleticism and a looser style of fighting. He pointed out that Dubois seems to have been challenged more significantly in his recent bouts, which McKenzie believes better prepares Dubois for high-level competition.
I'm slightly leaning towards Dubois, simply because when I've looked at AJ recently, because I've done a bit of research on him, this is how I'm talking with so much confidence, and I've looked at Dubois also, and you look at the last several fights that they've had, AJ's had the softer ride in.
Yeah.
Dubois is the more natural athleticism about him. He's more loose than AJ. He would have done his research on AJ and then know how to beat AJ. Not that AJ won't have done his research on Dubois, because I'm sure he
wouldn't have been focused on Dubois.
Further discussing Dubois' mindset, McKenzie emphasized the balance between confidence and humility that Dubois maintains. He noted that while confidence is essential, Dubois is careful not to become overconfident, which is crucial given the stakes of their upcoming match. He described Dubois as grounded and aware of the formidable challenge Joshua presents. McKenzie added, "What that does for two-level confidence, but you don't get overconfident with it. That's not what he's make up to buy. He's also very, very humble. He doesn't get carried away. He knows his fight against Joshua is going to be probably life and death. Make no mistake." Duke McKenzie then highlighted the unlikely chances of the fight lasting the distance due to both fighters' potent striking capabilities. He shared insights from Richie Woodhall, who has coached Dubois and regards his jab as the best he's ever seen. McKenzie stressed Woodhall's authority in the sport, suggesting that Dubois could have an edge if the fight hinges on jabbing.
You know, I can't see it going the distance because they both hit so hard. And Richie Woodhall once said to me, because he's trained Daniel Dubois, he said to me, Dubois got the best jab he's ever seen, and Richie Woodhall knows his stuff. I promise you that. If this fight is a battle of the jabs, then Dubois wins hands down.
According to McKenzie, Dubois continues to engage aggressively with combinations, a contrast to Joshua's evolved style. He observed that Joshua has become more cautious, engaging decisively only when confident in his positioning and effectiveness. This strategic shift marks a distinct contrast to Dubois' relentless and aggressive approach.
In my opinion, hits just as hard as AJ. He's quicker than AJ. Dubois fights in combinations. He throws combinations in. You don't see AJ doing that anymore. AJ did that in the early part of his career when he was on the ascendancy and was knocking out a load of guys, and he looked sensational. But since stepping up in class, AJ no longer does that. AJ's gone strictly safety first. He'll only pull the trigger when he knows he's in range and he can get that shot on the right hand I'm talking about.
Chris Eubank Jr. shared his thoughts on a past fight involving Daniel Dubois, particularly his match against Alexander Usyk. Eubank Jr. expressed his belief that Dubois performed well enough to deserve the win, especially disputing a controversial call during the fight. He argued that a body shot by Dubois, which was ruled as low, was legitimate and could have secured Dubois the victory and the title.
I think he beat Usyk. I think he should have got that title. I mean, that body shot wasn't low in my opinion. So really, he should have got that. He should have beaten him. It didn't happen for him, but you know, he's a big boy. He's strong. He can hit. So yeah, obviously AJ, regardless of his experience, has to stay on his, on his P's and Q's at all times. Otherwise, there's going to be a big upset.
Chris Eubank Jr. offered his prediction for the upcoming fight between Anthony Joshua and another opponent, sensing a heightened level of intensity and rivalry. He noted that there seems to be some animosity brewing between the fighters, which might push Joshua to aim for a definitive knockout. He predicted, "AJ, I think he's going to be looking for a knockout. I can kind of sense some bad blood between them. I think he's going to want to go out there and teach teach him a lesson, so I'd say, AJ stoppage, maybe mid-round 6 or 7th-8th, Jarrell Big Baby. Miller provided his perspective on the anticipated matchup, expressing a dual sense of allegiance. While he supports Daniel Dubois for his commendable character and the robustness of his team, Miller also looks forward to a potential bout against Anthony Joshua, citing unresolved tensions between them. He highlighted Dubois' resilience, particularly in terms of durability compared to Joshua, suggesting that the outcome of their fight might hinge more on strategic preparation and physical conditioning. He said, "I've never disliked Daniel. He's a cool guy. His whole team is cool. I'm rooting for Dubois, but at the same time, I want to fight AJ because we have unfinished beef. Dubois has a better chin than AJ, so I feel like it's going to come down to nutrition and who's got the better game plan. But I'm rooting for Dubois on this one." Just like Miller, Joseph Parker shared his views on the highly anticipated fight, expressing his excitement about the matchup's potential. He conveyed enthusiasm for the contest's dynamics and, ultimately, his belief in Anthony Joshua's ability to secure a victory. Parker said, "I feel like it's a very intriguing fight. It's a very exciting fight, and I feel like Joshua's going to win." Joseph Parker elaborated on his prediction, analyzing the fighting styles and recent performances of both competitors. He praised Anthony Joshua's form in recent bouts and acknowledged Daniel Dubois' skills, but noted a specific vulnerability in Dubois' defense against right-hand punches. Parker emphasized Joshua's significant power, suggesting that this advantage could be decisive early in the match.
Joshua has looked very good in his fights, last few fights. Dubois has as well, but Dubois takes a lot of right hands, and I feel like Joshua has with the power that he possesses, I think he's gonna, take it out in the first 4 or 5 rounds.
Joseph Parker continued his analysis by outlining a potential strategy for Daniel Dubois to succeed against Anthony Joshua. He emphasized the importance of Dubois having effective head movement and applying pressure from the outset of the fight. Parker noted that Joshua might struggle under such pressure, hinting at a possible weakness that Dubois could exploit. He added, "For me, Dubois needs to have good head movement, and he needs to apply pressure from the beginning. And I think Joshua doesn't really like the pressure, but we'll see what Dubois is going to bring." Former 3-time heavyweight world champion and British legend Lennox Lewis have weighed in. Lewis highlighted the critical significance of this fight for both boxers. For Daniel Dubois, it's about establishing himself as a top contender in the division, while for Anthony Joshua, it's about regaining his former glory.
Daniel Dubois has the fact that, he wants to be the heavyweight champion of the world, and, he wants to be the top man in England. And, as far as Anthony Joshua, this is a test for him as well. Somebody that's coming for his title, and that's #1 guy in England type of thing. And I think it's going to be a good fight.
When it comes to Anthony Joshua, a lot gets made of...
Lennox also reflected on Dubois' journey since his professional debut in 2017, noting that Dubois has consistently proven himself against formidable opponents. He particularly commended Dubois' resilience in his recent bout with Filip Hrgović, showcasing a gritty determination crucial for any fighter. Lennox stated, "This is an exam for him. Every fight's going to be an exam where he has to pass, and he's passed all the exams and all the tests already, so now he wants a chance to display himself." Lennox Lewis emphasized the significance of the opportunity before Dubois, stating that this match offers him a prime moment to showcase his skills against a highly discussed opponent like Joshua. He added, "This is a perfect opportunity to display yourself against the guy that everybody is always talking about, and this is your chance to prove that you're not the underdog." Turning to Joshua, Lennox acknowledged that despite Dubois' potential challenges, Joshua's superior experience and boxing IQ might give him the upper hand. Reflecting on Joshua's bouts with Oleksandr Usyk, Lennox noted that those fights, despite being losses, offered Joshua valuable lessons in handling top-tier fighters known for their exceptional jabs. Lennox said, "I think Anthony Joshua's experience does give him the edge. He's been through bigger fights, Oleksandr Usyk twice." Discussing the potential turning point of the fight, Lennox underscored the importance of the jab. He believes that the fighter who can best manage the pressure while effectively using his jab will likely come out on top. According to Lennox, a well-executed jab distinguishes a fighter, especially in the heavyweight category, where it can be a decisive factor in the outcome.
The person that secures his jab in the fight will win the fight, because every great heavyweight had a great jab.
Jamie Moore also offered his analysis on the timing of the fight, suggesting that while the matchup might be more evenly balanced in the future, currently, it plays heavily in Anthony Joshua's favor. Moore observed that Joshua is likely at the peak of his career form-wise, which could be decisive in their upcoming bout. Moore said, "I think in another year, 18 months' time, it'll be a different kettle of fish, but I think he's getting AJ at his prime. AJ is probably in the best form of his career, and I've got a feeling AJ might get him in 4 to 5 rounds because if Dubois gets hit as cleanly this time as he did last time, then against someone like AJ, you're in trouble." This match wasn't just a fight, it was a clash of titans, each with something significant to prove. Who was your favorite in this fight? Tell us your favorite moment of the fight and why you favored a particular fighter. Do you think the fight went according to your expectations? Write down in the comment section below and don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe for more thrilling fight analyses, and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.